Hey, and we're here, Waterbox Wednesday.
Hey, you guys, like, share, subscribe. We're live on both Facebook and YouTube, still coming at you.
And today we're doing some maintenance on the Dream Build 220 and what we're calling it, Water Change Wednesday.
Yeah.
And also some Q&A, so you have questions, whatever, we're here. We're going to be scrolling through YouTube and Facebook, reading questions and all that.
Yeah, so I'll be on top of those questions, you guys. You just ask us whatever, as long as it's PG rated. I'll try to take as many of those questions as I can while we're doing some maintenance on the tank. We're talking about maintenance because it's a great time to do that. A lot of people are stuck at home.
Yep.
It's a good time to polish up on those kinds of things.
It is. Let's get started.
Yeah.
We're back.
Welcome to Waterbox Live, you guys. We are live on Facebook and YouTube again, and we're going into water changes.
Yes, so we're going to do water change on the big 6-foot, but real quick, I'm going to take a little peek into our awesome little clear 16 that we have on our studio. Everything is starting to really grow in, so you can see the little baby tears on the bottom are starting to fill a little bit. They're starting to go away from their initial mat that they had. The ferns and all of those are actually getting some new leaves on them. All the fish are happy, so I'm kind of doing a little weekly report on this, guys. It fills in and grows.
I love it. It's looking so good, and again, this thing was super easy to set up. I mean, it took us, just a few days to get everything we needed to set it up. We ordered the plants from Live Aquarium. This thing's been up and running. It's got fish in it. It's lively. I love it.
I really enjoy having it on the studio desk
I do.
too. Like I really do. And it's just starting to look so nice and kind of actually growing in and maturing. So it's only been a couple weeks.
Yeah, we don't have any aquariums in the studio, but now we do, so it's pretty neat.
Yeah. So, all right, back to maintenance though. So all your tanks, you got one. You got to have certain maintenance routine, that kind of stuff. So our main display here in our lobby is the Reef Pro 220.6 called our Dream Build. Did a build on it a year and a half ago is when we set this one up, and it's due for a water change this week, so we figured we'd do that, answer some questions, and talk about maintenance you can do while you're kind of stuck at home.
Yeah, this is actually a great topic. Our viewers tend to really like it because, especially if you're getting into the hobby, there's a lot of things they just don't think about. So it's a really cool topic to just kind of dive into and talk about in detail, things you need to think about when doing a water change, supplies you're going to need.
And it's a great follow-up to last week's show was us installing water vats and plumbing them. So I can say it's been a breeze this week with top off, mixing the salt water, moving the water around now that it is all plumbed together. And we'll kind of show that a little bit as well. But watch last week's episode if you haven't, and we showed how we plumbed our water vats and also examples of a lot of different other ways you can do it.
Love it.
So let's go out there.
So again, you guys, we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Post your questions below. I'll do my best to answer them as they come through.
So for sake of just time, I started draining down the tank a little bit ago, so we're kind of can not have to sit here and just wait for it to drain. But I do want to show one thing that I did, because we have a utility sink, so we're draining straight to a sink. And if you do this at home, or you want to set it up so it's more automated, what I did is the first time I did a water change is I actually took out, our average water change is 40 gallons. So I actually took that amount out and measured by a trash can or buckets, and then I marked it on the side of the glass right here. Just a little piece of tape, you can use whatever you want. But now every time when I drain straight into a sink or wherever you do outside, you don't have to measure it every time. You can just completely drain and know that that's where your 40-gallon mark is or whatever you want to do. It's going to simplify it, and you don't pull out too much and then realize you don't have enough water made. And then you're really kind of scrambling to get enough water. So I'm going to start the draining on this one again.
That is a great tip, you guys. After the stream's over, go back and listen to that again because that's super helpful.
Yeah, so when I had my 210 at home, on the side of mine I had 10, 20, 30, all the different increments. So no matter what size water change I wanted to do, I knew exactly where to go to. And I didn't have to lug buckets or roll around trash cans or any of that. And we're actually just draining this straight to our utility sink by the water vats. So it's only got another couple more gallons to go on that one. And we aim for like roughly 40 gallons like every 2 weeks is our goal on this one here. So I'm gonna finish it draining. Clean the glass while you're at it. Good time to kind of like scrub off your rock. I brushed off the rock a little bit earlier, kind of, you know, just broke up the sand a little bit, those little kind of maintenance things. But the water change is like the backbone maintenance that you have to do regularly.
Yeah. I'm going to give some shout outs here. We got Brian with us, Scott, Dustin, and is a Waterbox ambassador. We got Jessica, Shamir, Linda, Lee, Joseph, tons of people on YouTube. I'm going to get to a couple of these questions too because people are talking a lot, so
okay.
I don't want to lose them.
Yeah.
Zeus, let's see. Zeus says, what would you recommend for a beginner saltwater tank?
I guess it really depends on what size you're looking for, but I mean, I think our systems, because they come with all the plumbing and the sump and tank and everything, so they're sized perfectly. Even like our reef system or pro, you know, they're really easy to put together. The plumbing's done pretty quickly. And, you know, between all the videos and information we have through our user group and stuff, you easily, from never having a saltwater tank to having a large, beautiful one. But the reef is a good one to start because you got 2 to 4 foot in size, and they're pretty manageable. 6 foot is, you know, for the average person, maybe a little bit larger than is, can be managed.
And I can tell you that you will, whatever you buy, you're going to buy a bigger one shortly thereafter. So, you know, go as big as you can right off the bat. Don't go too big to where it's unmanageable, but, you know, there's a lot of things that go into it. So there's cost, there's time, and what you're keeping in the aquarium.
Yeah, I mean, some people just don't have more space than like a marine or an all-in-one, and those are beautiful tanks to start with too. And then some people are like, my first tank ever, I got a 6 foot, and they just go all in with that one. So
yeah. So let's see here. We got.
This is a good time to appreciate your corals sitting still.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it top down, but like looking top down on your tank whenever it's shut off is just such a beautiful time because it's a vantage point you don't usually see. Especially with the bigger models. Now, like our frag system, it's got 16-inch height on the display versus the 24 of this one. So you actually can look down on that one a little bit easier, but unless you're super, super tall, you're not looking down on the Pro.
So we got D. Hansen says he's getting a 130.4. That's awesome. We got Waterbox Reef here with us. There's another ambassador.
Hey.
So a lot of our ambassadors here watching with us.
Well, good.
Drexter Istray, again, love the YouTube names. He said, what would you recommend to be the best filtration for a reef tank? My answer is going to be a protein skimmer, right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you have to have a protein skimmer. I think for small nanos, you can get away without having one. But the larger your tank, the more important it is because you have big fish. Usually going to be keeping a lot of corals. You've got to keep that water cleaner. And you're going to be doing so many more water changes without a skimmer than if you have one. It's going to remove so much organics and waste and stuff like that. So that'd be the number one piece of equipment. Don't skip on it. Get a good one, you know, even overrated a little bit for the size.
Linda is in here with us, which is actually my mother, and she says, is that mango? And yes, that is mango.
It is mango.
We've had mango
like 15 years or something?
So, at least 13.
We call her the dwarf meso.
Yeah, the dwarf meso.
Somehow she never has really grown any bigger than that. Even she was used to be in an 8-foot long tank.
Yeah, for a long time too, and eats really voraciously.
Yeah,
and
she's
still
fat and everything,
pretty
but
small. Don't know why.
Just a dwarf
At some
mutant.
point, her growth got stunted, but she's happy, healthy. Been around for a long time. Let's see here.
You can see the clownfish I've actually hosted in our elegance. They kind of jump around between different corals, but that elegance is huge.
It's relatively tolerant of it too.
Yeah, I know. I see all 3 of them kind of play in there and fight over the best spot in it.
So we got Richard, he says really likes the split pay option. Unfortunately, the 4820 with the stand is a few $100s over the 1K limit. That is unfortunate, Richard. We don't have any control over that dollar amount, but we do know that they are working on increasing it. But again, we're at the mercy of our financing partner. So.
All right, so we have hit our mark on the side of the glass, so we've taken about 40 gallons out. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this pump out of here. And what I'm gonna do is actually hook up, oh, I think this is in your cord. So the hose that we used to put the water into the tank was the one connecting to that pump. So I'm just gonna connect that real quick here.
You guys are getting a live look into...
So our water vat's up and running. We have our salt water mixed here. The super easy, I just pumped it over from the freshwater vat this morning. Threw a bag of salt in. It's already mixing on its own. And then we have our connection here.
If you guys didn't see what that connection doubles as, go to last week's live stream and
You
check
don't
out.
have to. You really don't have to. And then,
It's in reference to the toilet paper shortage, so, you know.
so now this one just is gonna go. I got cords and tubes everywhere. But it's a lot better than lugging buckets or rolling trash cans around. And we plumbed our water vats with a Vectra pump. We use the L2. And it's really nice because it is variable speed, so we can decide how quickly we fill this back up. And then, you know, we have multiple tanks around the office, so we don't necessarily fill them all at the same rate. And it mixes those vats really, really nicely. So make sure that is in place. And then we just turn our Vectra on.
See, Angela is here with us, my wife. Hopefully, Evan and Kate are watching as well. Do your kids watch?
Yeah, usually Connor Madison, hi, are you on? Maybe, I don't know. It depends. Sometimes when I get home, they watch, and sometimes they're like, yeah, I don't care. So.
Oh, actually, well, Brian was in here, so.
If
maybe.
Brian's on there, probably Connor's watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
We got to give the shout out to the kiddos.
Yeah, yeah. So just basically turned a couple of valves so that the Vectra is pushing the water into the tank now, and then we'll refill. And this is like on, I don't know, third power of the L2 Vectra, so we could even pump it up faster. Usually in the beginning it goes a little slower so I don't disturb all the sand too much, and then kind of crank it up as it gets more full. So now it just fills.
Yep, and now we wait.
And now
we
you
take
wait,
your
yeah.
questions, and you pick our brains. And Waterbox Reef says, what pumps do you have to mix the saltwater vat? I think you just said that, right?
Yeah, so the Vectra L2 is what we're using in there.
You're not going to show anything else out here, right?
No, pretty much no. Yeah, all right. Keenan says we're going back in the studio as that
So
fills.
we're going back to the
Doesn't let me
studio. We're going to take your
overfill it,
questions, and he's got the camera set up on the tank so you can watch that.
so I don't flood it.
Yeah, so we'll watch from the camera to see if we're going to flood the lobby.
All right, let's take guesses if we're going to catch it in time. And I know we were talking about, you know, with the kind of, a lot of people have a lot more time at home right now, and it's a great time to do maintenance and stuff on your aquarium. So we come up with kind of like a top list of like little things around your aquarium that you don't usually do, you don't usually have the time to do, that are, you know, more detail oriented.
I left my list out there, Jess, so I'm pulling the list
Oh
out.
my goodness.
Yes, this is
One job.
unbelievable.
One job. No. So came up with like a top 5 like maintenance things to tackle in your aquarium.
Yeah.
Now that you're around it more, or if you've got the time to do so. Number one thing I don't think people do enough is clean their pumps.
Yep, so true.
And we're talking
I learned the
return
hard
pumps,
way a number of
power
times.
heads, skimmer pumps, pretty much all your equipment that's constantly sitting in the water. It does get buildup on it. It gets coralline growing on it. It gets sponges and tunicates, and just like layers of slime and stuff like that. So taking those out, soak them in vinegar and water is a good one. There are some brands that are just like meant for cleaning equipment in the aquarium. But you're going to soak them, scrub them out, take those impellers out, clean them all up. They're going to last you a lot longer. They're going to work better. They're going to have more flow doing that. And that's a lot of times, a couple times a year you want to do it, but it almost never gets done because who wants to sit there for an hour or two taking apart pumps? Now's the time.
Right, you just do the primary things you know need to get done, and you forget about those things.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised how much gunk kind of builds up in those things.
It does, and how much your flow starts to go down on pumps, because when it gets a buildup around the impeller, it's more, you know, the impeller's working against. You're not getting full flow, and it kind of slowly decreases. You don't even notice it. Then you clean out your pump, and you're like, whoa, and you remember that's, you know, full flow and how much it has actually dropped down.
So let's see here. There's a lot of questions here. Keenan, if you see any good ones, shoot them out to me.
The tank, make sure it doesn't overflow.
Okay.
We got a little while.
Keenan's
It's gotta
watching
be a
the
bit
tank.
closer.
So you guys are putting a lot of questions in here between Facebook and YouTube. I'm trying to scroll through.
We have one
here.
person that said, our power head's supposed to be on when doing a water change to keep the flow. It really depends on how much you're taking out. If you're going to be dropping within a couple inches of your power head, you do want to turn them off, because they're going to like suck in air and create a big old burst of air into your aquarium. And you also don't want them getting exposed, because that's going to burn out the motor if they're running with not being in the water. So a lot of times just turn them off. Your tank can be without flow for a good period of time. So doing a water change, it's no big deal.
Yeah, those MP40s would be making a huge mess
And
right
they're
now.
really loud, and you put air bubbles everywhere. It's just not good for them.
So let's see here. Drexter says, awesome setup, guys. Zeus says, thanks for the info. I was thinking of getting the 16-gallon tank that was in the beginning. That's a great tank. It's our clear 16.
Yeah.
Zeus also says, sorry for asking so many questions. Keep them coming, man. I'm trying to get to them. But there's a lot of stuff coming through.
Brandon says, I'm planning on buying a mini 6 aquarium. Should I have CO2 set up? I want to have live plants and getting dwarf grass. In that size tank, I really don't think CO2 would be necessary. It's very small, and that'd be very hard to dose CO2 properly. You'd be buying a lot of equipment for that small of a tank. I think you'd be fine with just making sure you're sticking with moderate to easy plants, and then also having a fish load in there is going to help with nutrients and CO2 and stuff like that in the aquarium itself.
Right.
So keep it simple on that small of a system.
Let's see. Arabi says, do you ever vacuum the substrate as part of your water change routine?
Yes. Do it as needed. And if your sand is staying clean, you don't have algae buildup, and it's something you kind of just can gently brush, just do that. We did a month or two ago where we added more sand to this aquarium because over time it breaks down and we siphon it out and it needed more sand in it. So we do it as needed. But a lot of times if you got the cleanup crew, your nutrients are in check, you shouldn't have to siphon the sand bed too much itself.
Right. So we got, let's see here. I just saw another good one. Coral Lover says, are you planning to upgrading the sump? No, filter socks and filter fleece instead? Probably not. But I know a lot of people do use the Clarisy. What's the other one?
Clear.
Yeah, the clear filter. So they modify our sump a little bit and they use those. But no, I mean, most of our customers honestly use filter socks. And they work really darn well. I know a lot of people don't like the maintenance involved with them, or maybe the cost or whatever, but they work really well.
I still think filter socks are the #1 thing used on the market. Filter rollers and floss cups and stuff are becoming more popular. But filter socks I think are still #1 in use for here. And I actually have a good question here. Shamir says, I have a mixing station in my garage, and my garage is hot. Do I need a chiller so I'm not pumping hot water into the tank? Yes, this goes both ways of if it's in a garage when it's hot or if it's a garage when it's cold. You do need to temperature match your water. You can't pump 90-degree water into your tank, and you also can't pump 60-degree water into your tank. It's going to cause a lot of fluctuations, very, very stressful. So if you can keep it so where it's not going to have such temperature swings on your water vats, do that. Otherwise, you're going to have to find a way to cool it and then also heat it during the winter months. So even here in our ice box of an office, I usually have to put some heaters into the water vat. And this is an office.
I love our ice box.
Half the building, So I even have to throw heaters into our water vats on occasion.
We have to keep heat lamps on Jess during the day.
I don't do cold. I just cannot handle it below 80, so I freeze to death quickly.
So Josh says their shipping time's backed up right now. I don't think so. I think we're shipping pretty normally.
Yeah, we're shipping pretty fast right now. We've got more stuff incoming constantly. So, I mean, we're rocking and rolling. So we have not slowed down because of anything else going on. So us here at the offices and our warehouse are full blast moving.
Yep. So. Let's see. A lot of these YouTube names, I don't even want to read them. Something. What skimmer do you recommend for the Cube 20? I don't really know, but I know there's some Tunsy skimmers that work pretty well.
9001 is
9001.
the most popular one that I've seen for the
I'm surprised that
Cube.
thing's still around. That thing has been around
Tunsy's
forever.
been around one of the longest, in the beginning.
That little nano skimmer, though, specifically, has been around forever. I didn't want to say that because I didn't even know if it was still a thing.
It's still probably one of the most recommended for that size that I have seen, and that's what we've used in our builds here. I used it in the Cube battle. Jess is using it in her tank at her office. I think Emily's using one in hers, so it seems to just be the most common one that you're going to see. Scott Crow says, do you guys miss my face?
Of course
yes, we do.
Scott.
We missed you, Scott. He's busy doing his new location, so he's MIA. But hi, Scott.
If you guys want to see a super awesome Waterbox store, check out Ocean State Aquatics.
Yeah, Rhode
They're building a
Island.
new store out right now.
This thing is huge too.
Yeah.
It is
Full
beautiful.
Waterbox showroom.
The Waterbox. It's got the decals, his store decals all over the windows now. He's got a ton of Waterbox going for a showroom. So we're excited to see that open. But follow him on Facebook and Instagram. They're pretty active on the social media.
Yeah,
so
yeah, for
and
sure.
and Scott's always fun to watch because he's
Yeah.
awesome and crazy. So
You can watch one of the lives where he got his head shaved
yeah,
live.
he did. He lost a battle, got his head shaved.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that myself. But because I can't go get a haircut.
Don't tell that. There's someone on YouTube that is obsessed with head shaving, so don't even tempt them out there. What else did we have on our list of?
Let me pull it up.
I know one that we had talked about.
Someone told us to restart the show because I forgot the list outside. So
I
water
made
testing,
I made the
water
list. I
testing,
should have probably-
calibration.
Yes. Sometimes we neglect to test our water enough regularly, or just doing the basics and not getting into alkaline calcium, magnesium, all that stuff. So now's a good time to test your water, make sure everything's good. And also, if you use temperature or saline probes or any of those, it's a great time to calibrate and clean them because they do stop working once if they don't get cleaned regularly. Oh, clicking the pen. Keenan says, "Stop clicking
Pen
the
down.
pen. Put the pen away."
You can hold it, just don't click it. It's-
Well, if I'm holding it, I'm gonna click it. So, pen down.
Cleaning your sump. We've done at least one Waterbox live on this topic.
Yes, it was very popular. We flooded things, and
It
it's
blew water all over the office.
Yeah.
Good times.
obviously around here we don't know how to use a shop vac. So, so cleaning your sump out. There's a lot of gunk that builds up down there. A lot of different sponges and just gunk that settles in between in different chambers. So it's a good time to do your water change from your sump and kind of clean it all out.
Let's see. Let me see if I can grab a question here before we move on to the.
We're getting close to
Let's
the-
see.
I feel like we're good.
Tom says, "Can you guys send me a 40-gallon free?" No.
But you can get one on our website, finance, and all of that. All right, let me check water level real quick.
Jess is going to check the water level. Marcus says, "Definitely turkey base the rocks." And then Screams Reef says, "When will you have mesh filter socks for the Waterbox 20?" That's hard to say. I really wish I could answer that. We've had a few requests for them. I just don't think the demand is there to make that happen.
What?
The mesh socks for the 20-gallon.
All right, we're back. We're
Bart
still
says, "When will you deliver to the Netherlands? Tried to order the Cube 20, but you guys don't ship to the Netherlands. Are you going to be working on that?" Bart, I got the best news you're going to hear all week. Head over to waterboxaquariumseu.com.
good. Boom!
Bam! And you can order right there. We got them in stock.
Nice.
And our warehouse for Waterbox is in Amsterdam, so it's going to be a real quick delivery time. They're available now.
Nice. Dustin says, I guess it pertained to water change. Water is like, do you match parameters, magnesium, calcium, and alkalinity? No, I wouldn't, like every time you mix water, try to match parameters, but pick a salt that matches what you want to run your tank as. Because if you pick a salt that's completely different than what you want to make your tank as, you're either going to fluctuate every time you do a water change, or you're going to spend way too much effort putting additives into your water for a water change to make them match. So pick a salt that fits what you want to run your tank as, and then they're going to match naturally, and it's going to help keep everything buffered when you do a water change.
You know, Jess, I wish that I had Waterbox Live when I started in this hobby.
For real. I know.
The knowledge, I feel like I learn something every time we do the show because Jess just knows literally everything. But it's.
That's pretty much my whole knowledge base is just fish tanks. I
Sean
don't
has
know
a
anything
killer
else.
deal he's offering you guys right now. He's taking offers. He's going to trade toilet paper for water boxes.
It's a pretty good one. All right, I gotta check that. I think it might be about time I can turn this on.
Let's see here. We got Claudius just set up his 220.6 a few weeks ago, and he's loving it. If you guys aren't already on the Waterbox Facebook official group, head over to Facebook, search Waterbox Aquariums, and definitely join that. We have over 5,000 members on it, posting their tanks every day, sharing stories, sharing techniques. It's a really cool group. Let's see here. Do you match? Shamir's asking, what rock did you use, dry rock or live? This tank here, we actually used the Marco rock, so it was dry.
Yes, yes.
And we used probably some bacteria to seed it and things like that.
Yeah, so we seeded it with bacteria, but we used the dry, and now it's covered in coralline algae and stuff you can't even tell. But it was really nice to work with the flat shelf pieces that Margaret Rock has, so it's a good combination. And it gave us a lot of caves for all the fish. We have some big fish in there, and they got plenty of territories and stuff like that. So it's not big, bulky pieces.
I've got a great idea, Jess. We're actually, you can go if you don't want it to overflow, but we have a whole series. This is called the 230.6 Dream Build. We did a whole series on this, so you can go back, binge watch that whole thing. Go back, binge watch Eel Island.
Yeah.
Binge watch the Cube 20 battle, which is my favorite.
Yeah, that was the best things we ever did.
Definitely go back and check those out. They're a lot of fun. So let's see here. What other questions we got? Freddie says, please send to Puerto Rico. There's no dealers in Puerto Rico. Freddie, I suggest you probably reach out to customer service. They might be able to get something hooked up for you. The only problem right now is I think our shipping promotions don't qualify going there. But definitely reach out. Support at waterboxaquariums.com or 800-674-2608. How's it going, Jess?
All right, system's back on. We're good. Water's off. System's on.
Good job, because everybody was
Water
watching.
change is
Everybody
done.
was watching that. So if you messed it up, thousands of people are going to see
Anything
it.
floods or just shuts down.
This is live, so
We're
we
good.
can't.
I'm gonna try to get a closer look with them.
So it's
So-
multitasking, doing the show and the water change and going back and forth. That's how we do it.
So I'm going to give Waterbox Reef a plug back because he just said, shameless plug. If you guys are looking to buy a Waterbox, check out his YouTube channel. If you guys are on YouTube, head over to Waterbox Reef. He does have a really nice video on why he chose Waterbox.
Okay.
So definitely check that out.
Brad said, didn't this used to be the 230? Yes. So previously the 230, which is now the 220.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny thing is we do refer to it as a 220.
We do.
We do. That's technically the 230 out there, but we haven't set up a new 220, so we switched back and forth. It's a 7 millimeter difference, by the way.
Ooh, everyone's so happy.
Ooh.
See, they don't even the leathers are a little bit closed down, but for the most part, they don't even know that something just happened. Kind of like breathing a fresh change of air.
You know what? This would be really nice to have in your house.
It would. It's quite beautiful.
I bet you there's a lot of people watching right now that would love to have this in their house.
Shamir says, do you have an Apex? No, we do not. We actually, everything's done on our regular control board.
Yeah, we're pretty old school.
Yeah.
We don't really,
Yeah.
we're not the tinkerers. A lot of our customers are tinkers and they go crazy with the peripherals and the controllers and all this stuff, but
And we started this one with just like the basics. I mean, we've got your Vortex on there, we've got a Vectra pump, now a skimmer, all the necessities, but we never got into dosers or anything with this, so we've kind of just kept it as it is.
yep.
On future builds, maybe we'll get a little bit crazier, but this one has always just been run so well just from the
Yeah.
beginning. So we've kind of
Yeah.
just kept with what works.
Yeah.
If any broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, that's so true.
There we go.
Is that our list of stuff? I have no idea.
Yeah,
Oh.
let me check. I think we got a couple more things that we didn't touch
Cord
on.
management.
Yeah, cord management.
Cord
That's a big
management.
one. It took us a long time to do that on this tank out here.
Yeah, it was a disaster. It was a disaster, but it was a much nicer now. So if you haven't done some kind of control board or cable management to make it easier to get through all the mess of all your equipment cords, now's a great time to do it. You can get a control board, you can buy one, you can make your own, you can just mount them in the cabinet. Anything that just makes it easier, because like right now we can shut off all the in-sump stuff that we need to for water change, then we have our controllers for the MP40s and the Vectra mounted up. So they can just push a button really, really easily. So it's been really nice to do that. So now is a good time to do it.
Yeah, and all these topics that we're talking about for the most part are on our YouTube channel. So if you head over to YouTube, you can see a lot of these things that we're talking about. We did the cord management. We installed the controller board. You can see us
pretty much
aquascape this tank from the very beginning and how it's changed over the last year and a half or so.
I feel like anything you're looking to do in your aquarium, you can probably find us doing it on a live.
Yeah.
We really cover all the bases so that, and we have so many people that like call customer service that we talk to, and they say, I've never set up a saltwater tank, but pretty much I just followed your lives and just
I
did it
love
from
that.
there.
Man. When I started in this, I just had to do everything wrong once, and then I would figure it out.
We make it easier for you.
Yeah. I love it.
All right, look at that. Water change done. Did about 40 gallons. Tank is happy.
So there's lots of questions flowing in. There's lots of people watching, but we are running out of time. So I'll have to say that we'll see them next week.
Should.
Hopefully. So we are very fortunate that we're in an area that is not really that widely affected just yet. We may get shut down this week.
Lockdown goes into effect tomorrow, so I don't know.
Yeah, so we don't know if we'll be in the office next week, but regardless of if we're in the office, we will be live one way or another. I don't care if it's on my cell phone, Jess.
That could be weird.
I'm going to do it. It's going to happen, and you're going to join me. Okay?
All right, we're going to see what happens. So at some way or another, we'll see you next Wednesday, hopefully here in the studio,
Yeah,
because it sounds way better.
Yeah,
And
we can just sleep in here, and not go anywhere.
We're gonna live here.
Yeah.
All right, we will see you guys next week. Thank you.